Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in again. Today, I'm going to walk you through how I install RodBuckles on my Tracker 195 Tournament Edition. There's a couple of differences between installing them on an aluminum boat versus a fiberglass boat. There weren't many videos out there. There are a few really good ones, but I just wanted to package up an entire install and show it to you guys. So hopefully by the end of it, you'll be pretty confident that you can install them all by yourself as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. Step one is to remove the old hardware. All right, the next thing to do now is to take your pedal tray out, your trolling motor tray out, and look underneath all the way up to here to see if there's anything blocking where we want to install. So now that we've looked at what's underneath the location where we want to install it, is to actually get your rod buckle out and start mocking it up and see what it's going to look like once you install it. So I'll open up my packaging. It's tough to open without spilling all the screws and all the contents out with it. But all right. So since my boat is a little bit curved along this edge, I'm actually going to mount it to where it's not perfectly square with, what should I say? It's not perfectly square with, you know, the lateral line of this boat here. So when I mount it at this angle, the rod strap actually comes out and forms sort of like a V, which I don't know, maybe looks kind of cool by the end, but I get a little bit of extra length by putting it over here. And since I step much more up over by the trolling motor tray here, I actually like it back here, so it'll end up somewhere in here, the other end of the buckle, so I won't be stepping on it or anything like that. So on these boats, in this particular location, there is a bracket that's holding the plywood up. It's roughly an inch or two off of the side of the boat here, so we will actually be cutting that. So you may be hesitant of cutting that for structural integrity or anything. Cutting that, you know, 1/2 inch or so out of the aluminum and only, you know, maybe 3 inches is not really going to compromise anything. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. I think it's going to look good. I don't think it's going to mess with the structural integrity of the deck or anything of that sort. So I'm excited. So in the next clip, I'll show you what tool I've chosen to do this, which I think is going to be a little bit better for me personally, and due to the location that I have chosen to mount it. For this work, I have chosen to use a oscillating saw. So these are really good for making flush cuts and plunging into, so I can actually start in the middle of what I'm cutting and cut all the way through, and then, you know, kind of angle it and make a nice straight cut. I love using these things. One of the reasons why I didn't choose a jigsaw is that since I am going to go ahead and mount this so close to the side of the boat here, I don't think I'll actually be able to fit a jigsaw to make this final back cut, but turning this oscillating saw this direction will absolutely let me get all the way flush to the side of the boat. So that's primarily why I have chosen to go the oscillating saw route. Of course, if you move or if you have enough space or anything, you can use a jigsaw. I don't really like using Dremel tools to cut around things. I think this is just a much faster route. Whatever tool that you deem necessary to do this job is absolutely going to be okay. There's a lot of play in this in this cover here. So if you cut it a little bit too big or out of shape, it's not going to be a problem. It's going to look fine. It's going to cover it, and you have a nice professional look at the end of this. So when you open the package, it actually comes, the part of the paper is the template that you can use. So the quick tip for that is to make sure that the thicker end of this is facing the right way. So here on the left-hand side of my boat, to mount this, the thicker end will be towards the bow. So I'll make sure on my template that my thicker end right here is facing towards the front of the boat as well. So really I'm kind of eyeballing it to make sure where I want it, taking into consideration the length that goes down this way. Let's get a measuring tape out here and kind of just get a feel. Right there's about 5.5 inches, which puts that, make it a little bit closer, which puts that, I think, in a relatively good spot. This says to mount the buckle end here. The buckle end at about no more than 20 inches away. So I can kind of just eyeball. So right here is 18 inches. That's going to look good. It's not going to be in the way, anything there. What did I say? That was 5.5 inches. Yep, 5.5 inches. So we've already looked at the spot underneath. Everything is pretty much good through here. There is one screw that holds the deck on. Should be right here. I can feel it sticking up a little bit. So make sure that we clear that. Make sure we get nice and tight, and make sure we follow the angle here so it's not square. So see what I'm talking about? If I was going square straight towards the pedal, it actually would stick out a bit and not be so tucked in. So that's the main reason why I didn't want to do that. A little bit of cleaner of a look. So that's enough of me rambling. I'm going to go ahead and grab the marker, take my final measurements, trace out the inner circle, and get to cutting. Alrighty, so I've kind of rough laid it out. I have chosen to take it 6 inches. Oop, I kind of moved it there. 6 inches off of the corner of my rod locker. Any chance that you get to measure off of a reference point, just the better your final product is going to be, and that's pretty much anytime you're measuring anything. So it's repeatable is why I like to measure off references, because then when I go to the other side of the boat, I can measure, get the same distance off the wall, measure 6 inches, and it's going to be in the exact same spot, at least optically, given the tolerances of this line here from the factory. So I like this. It's following the contour of my boat here. So I'm ready to cut. I'm gonna mark this out using a red Sharpie. I have found that using a red Sharpie, even on your carpet, is going to come through nice. I can only speak to the gray carpet. So if you have gray carpet, whatever you need to do, I even thought about taping on paper around this and spraying some white spray paint or something. If you have black carpet and you can't make a mark of anything, kind of make a template and just spray it, and you're making a stencil at that point, pretty much anywhere you know you need to cut. that's all she wrote. This is going to be extremely hot. So we got the piece. All right. And we just missed our screw here that I was talking about. So that is absolutely perfect. So our deck's going to be nice and strong because there's still about an inch at a minimum of shelf right here. So there's no way that wood's going to press in. So let's give it a test fit. This is 2-piece. So you have your tray here. Line up fat side. And look at that. When you cut it nice and big, it gives you some play where you can line it up side to side and along this line. So all that's left is to screw this piece in once I get it lined up, clean this up a little bit, and then we'll mount the buckle here, the other side of the buckle. All right, all I've done is make one more final measurement, and we're right at 6 inches. Line it up with this edge and hold it tight so it doesn't move while you're screwing it, and screw it down. I always half tighten everything before sending her home. Perfect. Perfect. All right. Got the camera in a better spot so we can see. Just a sidebar because that's kind of who I am as a person. I like to just kind of figure things out as I'm going and kind of explain the thought process, why I'm making these decisions. So if you get that feeling, that is 100% what's happening here. So I'm just going to feel it out. This is the angle in which it's coming out. So I know I need my buckle roughly in this area, that angle. Where does that put me? That puts me, what, 2.5 inches away from my pedal, from my tray. Where does that put me here? 16 inches. Let's push this out and go to 17. See how that feels. Because I do step in this area more often. So, you know, it being here, moving your foot, it's going to be retracted. It's lower profile than those horrible loop ones that come with the boats. So I'm not overly concerned about it. This is where you get to definitely take creative control away, and you get to do whatever you guys want with mounting it however far you want away, whether you want it, you know, straight this direction versus at the angle. I don't know. I think the angle is going to look kind of tough. I don't know. So when that's clipped, it's not putting this in a bind at all. It's nice and straight. Cool. That puts us, so we can mark the next one, 2 inches and 2 inches. What is up? All right, let me do one more because I think I'm a little bit crooked, because that's gonna be there. That feels better. Kind of eyeball that. Eyeball it one more time. Whoops. Again. 2 inches. 2 inches. I love it when that works out. Make sure it's square. I mean, I'm cautious about screwing holes in my boat. I'm not scared of it. So that's why I'm measuring a couple times. And I'm sure you guys will absolutely as well, because that's just what good installers do. Don't tighten it all the way yet. Just snug. Nice. Works great. It's definitely stiff. Nice. Perfect. And there you have it. A nice clean rod buckle installation. I hope this gives you the confidence you need to install these yourselves. I know money is tight for a lot of folks, and that's why I love being able to share my experiences with you. Leave a comment on how you think this turned out, and don't forget to show me some love by leaving a like and a share. Please subscribe if you want to see more outdoors and DIY project content. Thanks for viewing, and take care.